Hello, good morning on this Wednesday from Georgia. I just want to point out a few things. I know that some of you have already done assignment 4-1 and perhaps 4-2. Now, you still have time to go and review it if you notice that you miss some of the things that I'm going to point out here. Okay, so one thing I'm looking at is that in your journal, you write about circumstances when your individuality might be more important than your prototypicality. Also, describe situations when the reverse might be true. Use the following concepts, right? And these concepts I'm looking and see that you are addressing and referring to in your journal entry. The concept of followership and how your value system is structured, how your value system ties into your overall personal leadership conceptual framework. Again, when you do these assignments, don't just rush into them to do them and get them out of the way. Because I'm going to be starting looking at it very carefully and very closely. Okay? And if these areas are not met, person, you may get less than proficient in the scoring. So it is important that you start looking at this very, very carefully. In this assignment, it says clearly consider the following questions. You should address these questions as part of your journal. Also, I want to see that you follow APA formatting and adding references and making the references APA compliant. That is hanging indentations, all right? Now, when it comes to your final project, this is 80 points right here. This is a heavy prize for your grade. So look carefully. What are the problems and issues discussed in the case study? And it is found in the module resources folder. So you need to look at that and then establish a context by providing an overview of leadership style, approach, and strategy. You need to illustrate each problem in the case with a specific example and connect them to leadership style, approach, and strategy. Now, if you don't do that, you may get a scoring less than proficient in your paper, and this is important because these are 80 points, okay, possible. The format should be a Word document. Look, it says clearly here a Word document, okay, and it has to be written in APA style. I'm going to be looking very closely to this. So when you do these assignments, don't just type them in the bright space. You need to do a Word document, and I want to see a cover page. A cover page with your name, title, the name of the assignment, and all that. And then you content answering these questions, following this rubric and guidelines. And I want to see all of that, and I'm going to be paying close attention to that. Now, this is not hard to do. I know it may be time consuming. I want to see references. Some of you are submitting work and then not putting in line citations or not using references. I'm going to start discounting, and when you see less than proficient, then you may want to closely at some of these APA formatting, okay? So I want you to continue making the good grades you're making. But as we move on, my expectations are a little bit more demanding, okay? So don't rush to do your assignments just to get them out of the way. If you've already done 4-1 and 4-2, please go back and make sure that you follow these guidelines. If you don't follow the guidelines, then you may score less than proficient, and that's not a good thing because you're all making good grades so far. All right, so keep up doing the good work. Pay close attention, read carefully these directions, and follow these guidelines. And again, for papers, I want to see a document, not a written answer in Brightspace. I want to see that you do a Word document with the cover page, with the body of your answer, and a reference page. All of it following APA guidelines, right? Double space times New Roman point 12. Reference page, the word reference, go right in the middle of the page, like this, right here. Indent citations, look at this. This is called indent hanging citations, right here. You start on the margin, you tap, and then everything below goes one tap. All right, so uh, look at this carefully. I'm looking at it, and you are doing a great job. I want you to continue doing that. The purpose of this is simply to be trained, to look at guidelines, to follow guidelines. I know some of you work in the field. You are in a position of leadership already. You know what I mean. We want people to follow guidelines, and this is just part of your training. Not just giving an answer to a question, but also how you submit that, right? How you present that to your supervisor, to the administration is important. So I'm helping you to be successful in the future field that you are going to begin. All right. Well, thank you. I hope this helps, and I'm looking forward to your papers and your journal entries.